Hey everyone, welcome to Don't Drink the Kool-Aid. My name is Ian, and today I'm excited to talk about the gruesome murders committed by Clementine Barnabet and the Voodoo cult, the Church of Sacrifice. On a fateful night in November of 1909, the peaceful town of Rayne, Louisiana was shattered by a gruesome tragedy. The Opelousas family lay tucked away in their beds, unaware of an impending danger. In a brutal act of violence, Edna Opelousas and her 3 children were mercilessly bludgeoned to death with an axe. Little did they know this harrowing event would spark the beginning of a series of grisly murders that would plague the Southern Railroad line that spanned across Louisiana and Texas. The next documented killing took place on January 24, 1911. Authorities in West Crowley, Louisiana, uncovered what local press referred to as the most brutal murder in the history of the section. Walter Byers, his wife, and their small son were found dead in their beds, their skulls split open by the swing of an axe. Blood drenched the beds, and bloody footprints trailed across the floor. The locked door indicated the killer came in through the window. And while an eerie bucket of blood sat in the corner, the still bloody murder weapon lay at the head of the bed. Soon after, on February 24, 1911, the Andrews family was discovered murdered in the same manner. Between the years 1911 and 1912, roughly a dozen families were discovered dead in their homes, with the method of killing described as brained with an axe. It was also noted most of these murders involved mutilation of the dead bodies, sometimes with limbs being removed and strewn all over the house. Local police soon took action and set their sights on local Raymond Barnabet as the prime suspect. Father to Clementine Barnabet, Raymond was known to be a violent man who abused his family regularly. Raymond worked as a sharecropper, but also engaged in petty theft to bring in additional money. Raymond's mistress soon went to police after the couple got into a fight in hopes to pin him for the murders. He was swiftly indicted and went to trial for the crime in October of 1911, where both of his children, Clementine and Zephyrin, testified against him. During the trial, Clementine and Zephyrin testified that Raymond came home the night of the murder covered in blood and brains. This contradicted the testimony given by Barnabet's common-law wife, Nina Porter. Regardless, Raymond was found guilty. In a quick turn of events, the court almost immediately granted him a mistrial on the grounds that he had been drunk during the first one. Fortunately only for Raymond, the murders continued as he was awaiting the retrial. On November 26, 1911, the Randall family were murdered in the same gruesome way in Lafayette, Louisiana. Immediately following these murders, police noticed Clementine Barnabet happened to be nearby to the crime scene. Upon further investigation, police found Clementine to be in possession of blood-soaked clothing. Clementine was promptly arrested but denied all accusations. With 2 suspects now in custody, the murders continued. The Warner family in Crowley and the Broussard family in Lake Charles were all bludgeoned to death with an axe. At the scene of the Broussard murders, someone had written on the wall in pencil, "Human 5," and a verse from the 9th Psalm as misquoted in Uncle Tom's Cabin, "When he maketh inquisition for blood, he forgetteth not the cry of the humble." Police were now operating under the assumption that these murders were committed by a group. Rumors eventually began to spread that these acts were part of some sort of voodoo cult ritual. The press suggested that the violence wrought against the deceased families were done as some sort of human sacrifice, which utilized the importance of the number 5. This further fueled rumors that Clementine was part of a cult called the Church of Sacrifice, which was said to believe that one could obtain riches and other wealth through human sacrifice. In April of 1912, at the age of 18, Clementine confessed to murdering 17 people. She confirmed people's belief that voodoo played a part in it, saying she obtained a charm that was supposed to protect her from the pursuit of killing. She claimed to lead a sect called the Church of Sacrifice, an offshoot of Christ's sanctified Holy Church. She further claimed that she had accomplices, and that they would draw lots to see who would be chosen to commit the murders. Before proceeding, let's take a moment to dive into voodoo as a whole and the Church of Sacrifice. Voodoo, shrouded in mystery and misconception, emerges as a captivating and enigmatic religious tradition originating from the depths of West Africa. Far from the caricatures portrayed in mainstream media, voodoo is a complex tapestry of beliefs, rituals, and cultural practices. At the core of voodoo lies a belief in a supreme being, often referred to as Bondier. Unlike anthropomorphic deities found in some other religions, Bondier is viewed as a distant and overarching force, less directly involved in human affairs. Serving as intermediaries between Bondier and humans are the spirits known as Iwa. These spirits, with their diverse personalities and domains of influence, hold sway over various aspects of human life, from love and fertility to war and healing. For example, if you are a farmer, you might give praise and offerings to the spirit of agriculture. If you are suffering from unrequited love, you would praise or leave offerings for the spirit of love, and so on. In addition to helping or impeding human affairs, Iwa can also manifest themselves by possessing the bodies of their worshippers. Followers of voodoo also believe in a universal energy and a soul that can leave the body during dreams and spirit possession. In Christian theology, spirit possession is usually considered an act of evil, either Satan or some demonic entity trying to enter an unwilling human vessel. In voodoo, however, possession by Iwa is desired. In a ceremony guided by a priest or priestess, the possession is considered a valuable, first-hand spiritual experience and connection with the spirit world. Voodoo rituals and ceremonies form a central component of its practice, serving as avenues for communication with the spirit world. Led by priests or priestesses, these rituals are imbued with music, dance, chanting, and offerings to the Iwa. Offerings, which may include food, drink, tobacco, or symbolic objects, are presented as gestures of reverence. Through these rituals, practitioners seek guidance, protection, and healing from the Iwa. In addition to venerating the Iwa, voodoo places significant importance on ancestor worship. Practitioners believe that the spirits of the deceased family members continue to influence the lives of the living, offering guidance and protection from the spirit realm. Ceremonies and rituals honoring ancestors serve to strengthen familial bonds and maintain connections with past generations. Voodoo is a largely oral tradition. It has no formal creed or specific sacred text and has no underlying organized structure or hierarchy. Practitioners will often adapt voodoo to suit their specific requirements. In doing so, often mixing it with other religious traditions, creating a syncretic belief system. Another more well-known aspect of voodoo is animal sacrifice. These sacrifices are primarily used to appease the Iwa. Some groups believe these sacrifices to the Iwa would grant the worshippers powers. In the case of Clementine Barnabet and the Church of Sacrifice, they believed that sacrificing human lives to the Iwa would grant them immortality. Soon after Clementine's confession, Zephyrin and Raymond were released. Clementine's trial began in October of 1912. During the trial, several other murders took place, but ceased altogether by the end of the trial. Clementine was eventually found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Clementine ultimately confessed to 35 murders, although police weren't able to validate some of these due to her constantly changing details. Police also tried to capture other members of the Human Five and the Church of Sacrifice, but only managed to secure several other members. Clementine attempted an escape from the Louisiana Penitentiary in 1913, but was caught the same day. 10 years into her sentence, she received a vague medical procedure and was soon released from prison. Some reports suggest this procedure was a lobotomy, although lobotomies didn't become a common medical practice until decades later. It is more likely that authorities didn't believe her confession and thought her to be innocent. Regardless, Clementine was released and hasn't been heard from since. As the sun sets on this haunting tale of the Church of Sacrifice, the shadows of uncertainty still loom over the case of Clementine Barnabet. From the blood-soaked clothing found in her possession to her early release from prison, her story will echo through history, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and doubts. Was Clementine Barnabet the mastermind behind these murders, or was she simply a scapegoat for the voodoo cult? The contradictions in witness testimonies and murky ties to voodoo rituals all add layers of complexity to this mystery. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me as we dove into the world of voodoo rituals and Clementine Barnabet. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you have a topic you'd like to see me cover in the future, please feel free to drop a comment. And always remember, don't drink the Kool-Aid.